This is Ethan, and you're listening to my Stuttering Life podcast, hosted by my dad, Pedro Pena. So let's get this started.
What's up, guys? This is Pedro from My Stuttering Life. On this podcast, we are going to talk about our challenges and our triumphs, and so that anyone around the world can truly know that you are not alone. So let's get started. Hello, dear friends and family. Thank you for joining me on this special episode of My Stuttering Life. Today's episode is not like the usual ones. It's a bit different, and it comes from a place of both sadness and of love. This episode is very close to my heart. Today I want to honor someone incredibly special to all of us. Ethan. Our son, Ethan, 20 years old. Today is the 1-year anniversary of when he was taken away from us. And so today I want to honor him in the way that I know how, as a podcaster, as a YouTube content creator, to honor him the way I know how. As all of y'all may know or may not know, Ethan was adopted. He was chosen, and he knew that. And he was the best son anybody could ever ask for. He would hug us every day. I love you, Dad. And give us a kiss on the cheek. What kid does that every single day? I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad. He was funny, kind, a passionate gamer. Woo. He was a talented basketball player. Shout out to the YMCA. And he was also a swimmer for a short while. A very short while. He was also a vintage truck enthusiast. He loved old trucks and having them all rebuilt, fixing them up. And he had a laughter that could fill a room. I could go on, but I thought it might be even a bit better to just share some of these joyous memories with you. Now, I know that a grief, it can feel heavy, but today I want this episode to be anything but that. Ethan had an amazing way of making people smile. If you knew him, you know exactly what I mean. I want to honor him by sharing the fun moments, the crazy stories, and all the ways he brought love and laughter into our lives. This is a celebration of him, not a goodbye. So I want to start off with 2 stories of my own. I have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of stories of this amazing young man. The first one is, you heard him in the intro. As all of y'all may know, may not know, I have a podcast called My Stuttering Life, where I share my journey as a person who has a stutter. I talk about my challenges and my triumphs, and I also interview people who stutter from all over the world, because I believe there's healing in sharing. And one day before a podcast interview, Ethan came into my studio, and it's a portable building behind our house, and I do my podcast. I do my YouTube. In the corner, I do some voice acting, and I also work sometimes remote. So I have a studio, and one day before a podcast interview, Ethan, he came in and he looked at everything. All of the lights were on and flashing, and he saw the microphone, the headset, everything, the mixer, and he was like, wow, this is very cool, Dad, and I'm proud of you. I will always remember that day. He was proud of his dad for what he was doing on a podcast to help other people. And the intro that he recorded for me, that I had asked him to, it took him about 8 or 9 times because he was getting flustered. And you can hear it. You can actually hear it that he was flustered and just happy to get it over with. But he was happy with it. He said, Dad, okay, here you go. And so I will always cherish that. And Ethan, he was a gamer. When he was about 8 or 9, he wanted a PlayStation because his school buddies, his friends had PlayStations. And so he wanted a PlayStation so he could play games. And later, as in junior high and high school, he began to play on line, gaming, with his friends, and you could hear him. I could always hear him from the kitchen when he was in his room playing an online game on his PlayStation, and you could tell when he was enthusiastic when he won. You would hear the cheering and the jeers and the laughter. And you could tell on some occasions when he would lose and you would hear some words. I said, whoa, hold on, let me knock on that door as a parent. Ethan, let's take a breath. And he said, sorry, Dad. How I miss that. I miss hearing his laughter. I miss hearing him scream at the game that he was playing online. I can still hear his laugh and see that a grin, and remember how he always had managed to make even the most ordinary moments unforgettable. And I will miss the hugs. And so I reached out to some friends and family members of Ethan to share their favorite memories. And I'm going to share with you their voice messages as a special tribute. So what you are about to hear are some stories. There will be ones that capture his spirit, his laughter, and his love for the things he was passionate about. I hope they bring a smile to your face, just like he brought to ours.
Hello, this is Connor Johnson. I think I met Ethan maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe through restaurants. But I have one particular moment that I always think of when I think of Ethan. I don't know when it was. I think it was for Roy's birthday right before Hurricane Harvey. We were all at my mom's house. I think it was um, all of us, Pedro, Clayton, Roy, and John and Melissa. And John and Melissa brought all their kids, and then Ethan was there. So all the adults are downstairs, being super loud, drinking, screaming, having a good time. And all the kids were upstairs in my room, and we're all just playing video games on our phones. And it seemed like Ethan was the one to try to talk to everybody to try to make the awkwardness go away, and he did. I mean, we just played Xbox, started screaming at people for playing like on a game. We're just laughing, having a good time. And at least I didn't know everyone, but it made it seem like I did. And I really appreciated that from him. I think, yeah.
Good morning. I was just sitting here thinking about Pedro, Clayton, and Ethan, and I've been wanting to do a recording, and I guess, sometimes things are hard. We met Pedro and Clayton and Ethan about 20 years ago, and it was fun from day one. Pedro was always hanging out and would come in to the VA, and I'd take my dad to the VA and would run into Pedro and would check in and see how Clayton and Ethan and everybody was doing. Pedro and Clayton and Ethan would come over to our house and we'd have pool parties, birthday parties, just get-togethers, hang out with family, laughing, talking. Ethan, I can always remember running around the pool and aggravating Logan. Logan was a teenager, so everything aggravated him. But they had a great time, and Ethan was always full of joy and laughter, and he was silly, and then the kids get older and jobs get busy, and so we would stay in touch through Facebook and would see how Ethan was growing up to be a young man, going to school, making good grades. But I just know one thing that I remember so much is he was so proud of both of his dads. It never bothered him. He loved them both. He never met a stranger. He always talked to our friends. When first minute he met them, if he was at our house, he was always outgoing and talking. And we think about Clayton and Pedro, and I just want them to know that we love them, we think about them, and we pray for them every day. And we'll always be here in case they ever need anything. Love you guys.
I have worked with Pedro for the last 17 years. I had the pleasure of hanging out with Ethan 2 times while attending charity events. The first was laying wreaths at the VA National Cemetery in Houston for the Wreaths Across America event. This was December of 2010, when he was just 7 years old. The next time we crossed paths was in May of 2013 at the National Alliance on Mental Illness Walk in downtown Houston. My daughter Erica also got to meet him at that event. Ethan was sweet and kind with a beautiful soul. He learned about being charitable at a very young age. His passion for giving to others is greatly missed. I know God now has the best helper angel. Amen.
My name is Zach. Ethan would know me as Blue, and I had the honor to be his friend and his barber. I wanted to honor Ethan with his voice message because I know he's listening. He's a hardworking, goal-achieving, optimistic young man. He surrounded himself with people that inspired him to grow. He was very curious and always open to listening and embracing wisdom that was shared with him. He was very funny, very caring, empathetic, respectful, and always giving out positivity. We've had many memories together, from deep, impactful conversations in the barber chair to adventures out at car shows and car meets. Ethan and I first met in my barber chair. He was a high school student, and he was in awe at the Nissan that I had parked outside. As said, he was inspired and asked many questions, and that I was eager to answer. At the end of the haircut, he undoubtedly said to me that one day he will have a Nissan of his own. and I saw and felt the determination coming from him. As he began to recur his visits, he constantly shared with me the actions he was taking to achieve this goal. Doing things like taking on double shifts, working at Whataburger, and saving up all his money. Till one day, he walked into the barber shop with a huge smile on his face, dangled some keys in his hand, and said, "Hey Zach, come outside." Of course, parked outside was his very own Nissan. I was absolutely proud and impressed that Ethan did what he said he would achieve. And with that, he stood out to me from every other young man that sits in my barber chair talking about their aspirations. Ethan was truly different and a force in this world. With time, I had the honor to introduce Ethan into the car community, and it was like watching a kid in a toy store. Eager to make his car that he worked very hard for, unique to himself and the world. He conquered many challenges like learning how to drive a stick shift car, installing a body kit, and learning just simple routine maintenance. He aspired to join the most elite car clubs, reaching out to them via Instagram and asking what it takes to join. Ethan was relentless. We enjoyed many car cruises and laughter together, to and from different car shows and car meets. He enjoyed and was inspired by it all. I then started seeing Ethan in the gym. He shared with me that he wanted to grow his physique and, of course, asked many questions on how to do it. Needless to say, this man within no time had full week's worth of meal preps ready and started implementing his new workout plans. Even after long days of work, I would still catch him at the gym fulfilling his goals. Ethan was beyond impactful on anyone he would come into contact with, myself included. It was truly a blessing to have Ethan as a friend, and I'm still hurt, but I cherish all the moments and talks that we've had. Ethan, I love you, and I miss you, buddy. I know you're listening, and I know you enjoy this podcast episode.
Hi, Ethan. I still consider you as being here because you can always be in my heart. Okay, Auntie Carolyn loves you, and I really get confident knowing that you have angels watching over you there. Although you don't need those angels now. Uncle Norman's there. For sure, and I know he received you. He's looking out for you. We share the same birth month, and we share the same love between the two of us. And I just want you to know you'll never, ever be forgotten. Never. I love you to the ends of the earth. Always will. Hugs, kisses, and I'll never say goodbye because you're going to remain in my heart.
I've heard it said that a person ceases to exist only when he or she has been forgotten. So it is with great joy that we remember Ethan Caleb Pena Park, a young man who loved the vibrant color orange and whose brief time on this earth brought so much joy, pride, and love to his family and friends. Ethan lives on.
Hey, Uncle Pedro. I know you've been asking me to do this since like December, and I seen your Facebook post about the podcast, and I couldn't let that go without me saying that, and I wouldn't feel good. So, I'm just come on here and say a few things. I know I only got 5 minutes, but yeah, man. Ethan, yeah, me and Ethan, guys. Me and Ethan, we grew up as cousins, since I've been knowing him even before I can remember. We got baby pictures I don't even remember about, and yeah. Ethan, he was like my first real friend, my first best friend ever. We didn't live the closest, but we did. I'm saying he lived in Baytown. I lived in like Missouri City, Sugar Land area. If you know where that is, it's about like an hour and a half, I would say, from what I can remember. I would say. But nevertheless, we was always there for each other. You know what I'm saying? Any birthday or big event, I tried to make it there. He tried to make it by me. You know what I'm saying? And shoot, every spring break, I knew I wanted to go over there, or he wanted to come by me. I'll be calling my Uncle Pedro. Hey man, I want to come over. Hey man, I want you to come over. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it didn't work out. Sometimes it did. But yeah, one of my very first like memories that I can remember was like I remember back when you guys used to have chickens. I remember me and Ethan, we used to run at them, and then we used to run away, just laughing and stuff. And I remember you used to get mad at us because we used to get the little Nerf gun, and we used to shoot them, and they used to be running at us and stuff, and then stuff like that. And then I remember like when we was like a little bit older, I remember I think you was at work, and yeah, me and Ethan wanted to play basketball, and I think Uncle Clayton's truck was like a little bit too close. So Ethan was like, "Hey, you know how to drive a stick?" I was like, "Nah, man, but I can try." Watched a little YouTube video real quick, reversed it up a couple feet just so it was out the way. I ain't want to hit his truck or nothing. And I think like a couple hours later, Uncle Clayton, he was like, "When y'all move my truck?" I was like, "Yeah." And then I think Ethan got in trouble or whatever, but it was like, "Hey, man, we didn't want to wake you up." You know what I'm saying? Uncle Clayton, he was a hard worker, man. He used to work them overnights. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, just stuff like that. And I remember like my last like in person memory with him was for my graduation gift. My mom took us on a cruise, and she asked if Ethan could tag along and stuff like that, and his parents agreed. So I remember whenever we got to Cozumel, it was like 9 in the morning. My mom woke us up, got us off the boat. We was only off the boat for like 30 minutes. Took pictures, you know what I'm saying? We took pictures, walked around a little bit, seen a little gift shop, and then got back on. You know what I'm saying? It was hot. Mom was like, "Hey man, y'all don't get off this boat again." And we was like, "Oh, okay." And then yeah, man, it was me and Ethan. My brother had his own little friends or whatever, and me and Ethan just got tired of eating hamburgers and ice creams and walking around. Everybody off the boat. So we was like, "Hey man, you wanna just go sneak off real quick? You know what I'm saying? Go and do something, walk around or something." He was like, "Hey, yeah, we can go do that." So we got out the boat and we like, "Dang man, we don't got no money." So we was like, "Hey, we can go up to the beach." You know what I'm saying? Be like, "All right, bet." We ended up walking 30 minutes away. I'm like, cause we was trying to find like the easiest way to get in, like without having to pay. So we was like, "Hey man, we can just go through here." And we ended up going through there. We were swimming around, collecting seashells, making sandcastles, splashing water, you know what I'm saying? Just doing all types of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And we knew we had to be back at a certain amount of time. So we ended up, you know what I'm saying, being back on time, more than enough time. And we got back on the boat later that night. We got caught, you know what I'm saying? We was like, "Oh man." And, you know, at the time, we knew it was bad. We felt bad or whatever. But, you know what I'm saying? Looking back, it was a good memory, you know? Um, But yeah, man, just Ethan was just always there for me. Even after I moved to Louisiana, we always kept in contact. Anytime he got a new number or I got a new number, we ended up getting in contact. We used to always be on the game to like whenever I would actually get on the game, we used to be on the game together. He even got me my first Fortnite win. But yeah, man. Hey, I hope it's okay that I just made a second one. I just wanted to say like a couple more things. Um, just to get off my chest, you know. I just want to say first thing and foremost that you and Uncle Clayton, y'all raised an amazing person. Y'all gave me a lifelong best friend. You know, my first ever friend that I can even think of. And I just appreciate y'all, man. Me and Ethan, it was like when we was together, man, it was a never a dull moment. Never, it was always laughing, smiling, goofing around, getting in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Just doing everything's kid do. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Out of everybody in my life, you know what I'm saying? He was like pretty much the only person throughout my whole life that I ever kept in contact with, you know? And it's, you know what I'm saying? I'm mainly to thank you guys, my mom, and you know what I'm saying, me and him. And the only really like regret that I had, bro, which was I'm not gonna really say I regret it because it was kind of really not in my hands, but I do wish like I would have seen him more often, you know. But with me moving to Louisiana, I know it was gonna be very hard. You know what I'm saying? Especially with different school schedules and this, that, and the third. And all types of stuff. I do wish I would have seen them way more often. But nonetheless, we did make a lot of memories together. Even with me moving to Louisiana, we always kept in contact. We always somehow, with me getting new phone numbers, him getting new phones, we somehow always kept in touch. You know, we always, whenever I decided to get on the game, we used to always play together. You know what I'm saying? Um, and yeah, um. It did take me a very long time to really accept it, you know. Um, but it's not really almost everything I do kind of reminds me of him, you know. And yeah, man. But I don't want to keep you guys too long. I already did another one, but just want to end it off by saying, Ethan, man, I miss you, bro. To Uncle Clayton, Uncle Pedro, I love y'all boys, and just RIP to my man Ethan, man.
Hi, my name is Arasabi Lopez. I first met Ethan when we were in 6th grade at St. Joseph, though we weren't as close back then. It wasn't until high school that we truly started to connect. Even though we went to different schools, we always managed to keep in touch. Ethan was always there for me when I was going through tough times, and he would do his best to brighten my day. I'll never forget this one time when I was really down and Ethan invited me to go to the movies with him and the boys. I didn't want to be the only girl there, so I asked if one of my friends could join, and of course he said yes. And that was the beginning of a new group that we all formed. Even though life has changed, we've managed to stay in touch and continue meeting up whenever we could. Ethan was a genuinely good person with a huge heart. He had a special way of making people laugh and lifting their spirits. His time with us was far too short, but the memories he created will remain with us forever.
Hi, my name is Andre Dizon, and the fond memories I have with Ethan are a lot since I've known him since I was in 6th grade. But if I had to pick one or a couple of them, it would have to be our retreats with St. Joseph. Because the first one we went to when we were in 8th grade is how I got to know Ethan personally. Because before that, we didn't really talk much in 6th and 7th grade. We would talk, but they weren't to connect like how we were later down the line. That first one is how I got to know him more personally, how we got to know each other, and also how we just found interest in each other. And then after that, we got to know each other better. We would be hopping on the game and playing on nights we didn't have school or during school sometimes. And then later down the line, or when we got to high school more specifically, we went on more retreats with St. Joseph. And when we were there, we were connecting more because we started to grow even more interested. We had more interests, more hobbies. And also, we were also liking the same girls when we were at the retreats, even though we're not technically supposed to start flirting over there. We were doing that. And that's how our brotherhood grew even better. But yeah, those retreats were some of the best that me and him would go back and just talk about whenever we were just bored, and just recall all those times we were just having fun, praising God, getting closer to our faith, and also just being high schoolers and then middle schoolers. But I think that's those are the best memories I have, other than after high school. Whenever me, him, Kavan, Araceli, Kaylee, and Cassandra would meet up from time to time and just hang out and recall and make new memories or reshare old ones until everything. But I think overall we were having fun, and each of those memories will forever be precious to me. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Kavan, and I'm one of Ethan's classmates from junior high, and I've known him since sixth grade, and I'd say we've been friends ever since. And one thing I'd always remember from Ethan would probably be our times playing catch, as far as like football, and also playing basketball, especially in junior high, even a little bit in high school, but I'd say that I'd vividly remember from junior high. That was just the one thing that would always stick with my mind with Ethan. Playing football, even though it wasn't like his first sport, Ethan would always say basketball is his first sport, but he'll always throw football around just to throw around, have fun, way to just to ease our mind and stuff. But I'd always say that would be my fondest memory of him. But even basketball, especially in PE during junior high, we'd always play basketball, pick teams and all of that. And he was always a competitive person too at the same time. And one thing I would say about what made Ethan unique was that he was always a caring guy. He always had your back, no matter what. And I'd say he'd always have my back, even when I barely talked to him. He'd still be there for me if I ever need to talk to him or anything like that, especially during high school, because after we graduated in eighth grade, we all went our separate ways, but it wasn't too far of a separate ways because we were both going, me, Andre, Ethan, Isaiah, we were all going to schools in Baytown, so it was not like we weren't going to see each other ever again. But that was one thing I would say is Ethan, he always has your back, no matter what. And through thick and thin, he'll always be there for you. And I know sometimes he wouldn't look like a kind guy, but he really is. And another thing I always remember about him was times when, if I didn't have cash on me and we'd go to, cash only places for like tickets and stuff, he'd always cover me and I'd always pay him back because that's just how I am. But I remember one time he'd, pay me back like for a movie ticket, and then I would just cover his meal. I'd be like, hey, whatever you want, it's on me. And I know sometimes he'll double check. He's like, hey, you sure? I was like, yeah, man, I got you. You cover my ticket, so it's the least I could do. But, yeah, I'd just like to say that Ethan was a good friend. He wasn't the closest I wasn't really that close to him when I first met him, but as the years went by, I'd probably say I got to know Ethan a little bit more. And that's one thing I'll always say, that Ethan was a good guy, and surely I'll miss him. He was such a good friend, and we'll always cherish him no matter what, through thick and thin. And I hope he's looking down at us and doing great up there. And yeah, that was pretty much it.
Hello, Pete. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your podcast on behalf of Ethan. My name is Diana Harris Turnbow. I'm not really good at this, so here we go. I'm Ethan's grandmother, and I feel truly honored to be able to be given that title and be able to love him and be loved by him while he was here on earth. I can't believe that he was taken so soon. Such a tragedy, and it's left such a hole in my heart and others. Ethan was so kind and caring and loving and selfless. He was every good synonym I could think about. When he was little, he was always so excited to come and see me, and especially his cousins, Skylar and Lexi. He loved them a lot, and they really, truly miss him. It was so exciting that when he would come and see us, no matter how old he got, he was still so excited. That just really melted my heart that he loved us so much. I never had such a great bond with a little human like him. He was just super special. He wasn't ever really picky about where we were going to go eat or what we were going to go do, but he especially loved the beach, and he loved for Skylar and Lexi to cover him with sand, and he couldn't wait to see the picture when we were done. He wanted to make sure not one piece of skin was seen in the picture. He was always so adorable. He loved going and eating Mexican food. That was usually his choice. He was excited to sit in the front seat also when he was little. Finally got to sit in the front seat after I let him sit there in error. You don't do that. Pete and Clayton were very protective and awesome parents, and they really watched out for him. And then Ethan was already a teenager. He asked to drive my car, and I didn't know if I should say yes. I wasn't sure if he really knew what he was doing yet. I asked him, should I wear a mask? He laughed with that deep voice he was starting to have. I couldn't believe he was already growing into a man. I miss those times. This is really hard. Sometimes I think he taught me more than I taught him, especially whenever he said homies. I didn't know what that was. And he said, you know me, Ma, you're besties. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm learning new lingo. I told him I knew LMAO, and he was surprised I knew that one. He always reminded me that I wasn't old, and he said the sweetest things and compliments ever. He didn't like being questioned, though. When I would question him, why don't you have a girlfriend? Who is your girlfriend? He would just laugh. He didn't want me to get too personal. Meemaws can be that way. I remember when he first started shaving, and I said, oh, are you shaving now? He says he had been shaving for years. It had been about a couple of months. It was funny. He always wanted to be so grown up. There's so many memories, and I miss this amazing grandson. And he will be my grandson forever in my heart. I love you, Pete, Clayton, and Mary, forever and ever. Thank you for raising such an amazing child. I'm always here for you guys.
Hi. I never had the opportunity to get to know Ethan, but if he was anything like his father, Pedro, I'm sure he lit up a room. I wish I would have had the opportunity to get to meet him, but I'm very grateful for Pedro, and I'm sure he led a beautiful example for his son. So I hope and pray that he's at peace. Thank you.
Hey, Pedro, it's Ronnie. I know it's been a while, but one funny memory I have of Ethan, I remember when we went to Chuck E. Cheese. I believe it was his 5th birthday. We went to Chuck E. Cheese, and we had a lot of fun. I had fun meeting the family and spending the time with Ethan. But one thing that made me laugh is that Ethan was a little afraid of that big Chuck E. Cheese rat. As we were sitting there having a good time and chatting with everybody, it was just funny to see that when the rat came walking up, he ran and hid under the table. He wouldn't get out for a little bit, but it made me laugh. In a way, I kind of felt for him because it's like, oh no, I can see why he's afraid of that big rat. But it kind of tickled me just knowing that I've known a few kids that felt the same way too. However, it was a fun and eventful afternoon with you and the family, and it was great to be able to spend that amount of time with all of you. He was a beautiful boy, Pedro. He really is. If it wasn't for you and your family, I don't know, but I'm sure with you, y'all gave him a wonderful life.
This message is for Ethan's parents, Clayton and Pedro. And from the first day I laid eyes on Ethan, I fell in love with him. I've taken a long time to do this because every time I start to speak, I find myself verbally as a loss for words, but not mentally. Ethan was a sweetheart. Clayton and Pedro, you all did a wonderful job raising him. We enjoyed Ethan. We enjoyed his whole life from beginning to end. He and the boys, Christian and Christopher, shared many, 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 many moments together. So did Ethan and I. I could hear him saying right now, and Carolyn. One of the biggest memories is, of course, the cruise that we took together for Christian's graduation, high school graduation. Ethan was a blast. It was so refreshing to see how he roamed around the ship. At the same time, he could hide from me. I loved him then. I loved him at the beginning. I love him at the end, and I will continue to love him. And we're gonna miss Ethan for sure. I would just say that Ethan's another angel that watches over us. And this is where I say again, and Carolyn loved him. I'm not sure I can go much further with this. So, Pedro, Clayton, we will always remember Ethan. We always will love Ethan. And you all did a phenomenal job raising Ethan to be the young man that he became. Love to the three of you.
Hello, my name is Marcus Smithy. I'm a kid that lives in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm only 19 years old. And most of y'all never heard of me, never even know who I am. The only person that probably does is Damien, which is one of his good friends. But I met Ethan playing PS4, PS5, whatever you want to call it, video games. And man, we connected on a different bond. We used to be on that game for probably 6 to 8 hours, sometimes staying up all night, just talking, enjoying life, and spending time with each other. And man, he really grew to be somebody that was very caring, somebody I texted every day, somebody I wanted to talk to. And when I couldn't be able to play the game with him another time, it hurt. It honestly did. I was blowing up his phone, trying to get him on the game, and I had to find out from somebody else, and it's sad. So I just want to send my condolences, and tell everybody in the family that I hope Ethan touched as many people as he touched me in the short period of time that I met him. I planned on going on trips with him in the future. I planned on seeing him and meeting him, and it's sad that none of this never got to happen. And it's just great distraught that gets brought to the family that I can't send enough prayers and I can't send enough words that are encouraging enough to y'all, because I know the times that y'all have been through for him. But I just want to let y'all know that if y'all need anything, y'all can reach out. I'm always here. My Facebook is Marcus Smithy. Uh, I'm in Ethan's phone. I got his phone number if you ever want to reach out to me. Everybody calls me Smitty. And I just want you to know, if you're listening to this, make your life the better reason for Ethan.
Thank you to everyone who shared these beautiful memories. Hearing your voices, your laughter, it is such a reminder that Ethan is still with us in all of these stories, these laughs, and his unforgettable smile. He's more than just a memory. He's a part of all of us. So here's to you, Ethan. May your laughter echo forever, and may we all carry a piece of that joy with us, no matter where we go. I want to thank all of y'all for joining me for this special episode. Until next time, please hold your loved ones close, laugh a little louder, and remember that the people we love are never really gone. They're just a memory, a story, a laugh, or a smile away. Always in our hearts. We love you, Ethan.